Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. So it has been quite a while since we've last seen each other. I think the last video I posted, I was in my car and yeah, we were in the process of out processing from our old base. We finally got a little settled into our new home. We still have a lot of work and stuff to do, but we're finally here and I got all my stuff back. All of our home goods were delivered. So I am super duper excited because I finally figured out my 2025. So I'm going to try to talk through that briefly. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to open anything, but I'm definitely going to show you guys what I got and talk about some things today. And then maybe the next following video, we'll sit down and we'll do like the initial like reaction to some of the things I got. And me going through the pages and things like that, setting it up because I think that would be interesting. Also, I got some other goodies that I was sent, and I want to share those with you. I think they'll be really great items to look at, especially for my task-based people who love lists and checking off things. I think some of these things will be just great, so I'm going to be doing a video on that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So October was a busy month. October was a stressful month to say the least. Like I said, we were moving from state to state. So a lot of you know that, my husband was deployed and I went home, and then, traveling from there and to the next place, and then going back to our old base in Altus, and finally landing here in Maryland. So finally, we are settled, and I'm so happy because moving from state to state, staying in and out of hotels has just been a whirlwind of emotions. It's been stressful, it's been financially stressful, and it's been exhausting with our 3-year-old. And it's just been chaotic, and there's really not a lot of words to say about it other than, the life we live is just not easy sometimes. And yeah, so along with moving and things, my bullet journal definitely suffered at the hands of everything because I was so busy, I was so stressed out. I really didn't have, time to sit and think about things like I would do if I hadn't been that stressed. So when I did my last video, a lot of you seen that I was using the T Fossey journal, and I was so excited to move into that bullet journal. And honestly, it is a much bigger journal. It was thicker because the paper was 160 GSM, I think. Yeah, it was 160 GSM. There were 250 pages in it. So you can just imagine what that thickness of paper and that many pages, just how thick that journal was. Not only that, I was really having a hard time getting into it. The paper was bright white. Not that I'm opposed to bright white paper, but I was having a hard time collectively enjoying the journal in itself. I'd gotten so used to my Leuchtturm that it wasn't feeling right. So when I finished my Leuchtturm and I tried to jump into that, it just didn't work out for me. Fast forward, I went to Barnes and Nobles and I was looking for another type of journal to use, and I ended up with this little leather. I would say it's equivalent to a B6, but it's a little leather wraparound journal. And this is what I've been using. No, I haven't been using it consistently every single day. I haven't done dailies every single day, but I have been doing, planning here, drawing out my weeks, doing that because I feel like I need to have some basis of where my week is and what is happening in my week, even if I don't have dailies to back it up. Because honestly, I was starting to get to the point where I didn't know what day it was. I didn't know what was coming up. I didn't know anything. So I needed to have some form of, what the heck was happening. So I opted to just stick with the weeklies. That seemed to be the easiest for me. And moving forward, if I needed the daily, then I would just do the daily. So I'll walk you through this really quick, and then we'll talk about some of my 2025 plans. So like I said, this journal is a leather wrap journal, and I got it from Barnes and Nobles for like $25. I wasn't looking for anything super big. In fact, I was looking for, and then this is just this is like reference type stuff that I've just been moving around. But like I said, I wasn't looking for anything really big. I was just looking for something that would just help me get the job done. I didn't care if it was another Leuchtturm. I didn't care if I didn't really care at all. But I didn't want to buy another Leuchtturm because it's an A5. And yeah, I know they have smaller books, but I needed something a little bit more bigger, or a little bit bigger than, their pocket notebooks. So I settled on this, and at first I wasn't really digging it. The dots are not consistent. So far they've been very consistent, but they aren't really consistent. And so drawing out my week has just been like an eyeball. I've just been eyeballing it. So paper is really good though. Not super good, but it's fairly decent. I opted to just use ballpoint pen because I just wanted a no fuss situation. And if you know, then you know I definitely need a no fuss situation, because my patience for things drying and all that stuff is just non-existent. I just don't have time to fundle with blotter paper, extra paper. I didn't have time for that. So I just needed something that I could write on it, flip the page, and keep going. So I was in the hotel. So we were staying in a temporary space. So we were in a hotel for about 14 days. Man, we went through, if I had to justify, we've stayed in 4 different hotels and several different states over the course of 3 weeks, all throughout October. We stayed in a hotel when we moved back to Altus for 10 days. I think we were only there for a week. And then like I said, we left. We stayed in a hotel for one night. We left. We went to another state. We stayed in a hotel. We left. And then we stayed in another hotel, and then we left, and we got here, and we stayed in a hotel for 14 days while we were getting our home that we're in now together. So it's been crazy. So while I was sitting in the hotel, I was sitting down and I was doing this, and I was just thinking about my bullet journal that I just completed. And I was just like, this really worked for me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw this out again. And so I did that. I only did it for October through January. And really, I don't think that I'll be in here for January. But what I wanted to do was have a place to forward plan should something come up, should something, happen before, or in the future rather. I wanted to be able to have a place to document it. And then I put a place here for notes, basically yearly notes, monthly notes, things that may not be able to fit into these categories just yet. And I kind of color coded what some of this was. Like I was color coding with birthdays and pivotal, very important events that were coming up. So I kept it very simple. I used a stencil for my monthly. And at first when I did this, because I had bought 2 of these. The first one that I was using stickers, and I really just didn't have the patience for it. This is kind of what helped me figure out my 2025 also, because I really wasn't having a lot of patience for a lot of things. I mentioned that I only purchased one thing for 2025. And I originally did only purchase one thing for 2025. I'll have to go grab it. Give me one second. Okay, so I went and grabbed what I purchased for 2025 originally because I want to be able to share that with you all as well when we go over some of my 2025 things. But like I said, I just wanted something simple. And I think simplicity just works for me. I have a lot going on. I'm getting ready to do preschool full throttle with my toddler again, and then he's 3 next this coming summer. Next summer he will be 4, and so life is busy, and I just don't have time, the kind of time that I used to have when he was a little bit smaller, and not as active, and before he was born. I just don't have that kind of time. So now I'm opting for more things that are kind of predated or easy to set up, simple layouts, keeping it very, very, very simple. So I opted for simple monthly, and I only did 2 because the way my mind is set up is if I go too far ahead, then I'm getting too ahead of myself with the bullet journal, because I don't even know if I will use this, and I don't want to waste time on drawing out things that I'm not going to be using. So I only did November and December. That way it gave me free range to write as many notes, to journal if I wanted to draw my weeklies, do my dailies, all those things without worrying about the fact that I took up extra space for miscellaneous months that aren't even irrelevant or irrelevant. So I kept my weeklies simple. Now for the weeklies, I definitely use stickers. I just didn't like the way that I was writing my numbers. I didn't really like the way that I was writing my numbers in these months, but I preferred that over me writing it out here. Also because I wanted to be able to see the numbers more clearly. So I used the date stickers. That wasn't a big thing. It was a bit much when I was doing it all over the month, and then it was taking up space from the box. I kept a vertical month, or vertical week rather. This was the same week layout that I was doing in my Lloyd's term. This really works for me, this vertical layout, having 2 boxes for each line of the day. I like having a top 3. I like giving myself 3 things to kind of check off. Even if I get nothing done from my list or my dailies, I like having a space for 3 big things that I can just dedicate and tackle. And then I kind of use the bottom spaces for like notes about certain tasks and reminders and just whatever, really. And then anything else that's still important, still task-based, it goes up here along with the top 3. So sometimes I extend on my task list for the day. Sometimes, I may be thinking, sometimes when I'm planning, I'm not fully thinking of everything that needs to be done. Sometimes when I sit down to do my weeks, these things pop up into mind and I end up writing them down. And then when I go to do my days, sometimes they get lost and I have to refer back to this to figure out what the heck it was that I need to remind myself to do. So I just use the space to basically write where I want to write, and reference the things that I want to reference in the space that's provided. And then Saturday and Sunday, share space, because in this planner, when you're curating for yourself, you can work around not having a separate box for each day. It's just that when it's in, like a pre-printed, predated type planner, it doesn't really work because the space that they give you isn't much anyway. And so if for whatever reason I need a bigger box for Saturday or Sunday, I can just draw that out. That's why it works so much better in the bullet journal format opposed to like a dated planner, because you can't really extend or expand rather on those days. But yeah, so I did some dailies. I kept my dailies the same way that I was using them in my Lois term, but I'll be completely honest with you, it's been touch and go. Like I did Monday through Saturday. I didn't do Sunday because I didn't need a daily Sunday. This was the 11th through the 17th. this is November. So I think I started this in October. I think I started this in October, but I wasn't really using it till November. So yeah. So I did this week, and I did 0 dailies for this week. This week was super chaotic. The week doesn't reflect it, but the actions, the things that I was doing definitely shows that when I'm busy, when I'm really busy and life is just not slowing down, my bullet journals, my planners, they suffer. And that's a clear indication. Like, as you see, it's really not much going on. And then this is this current week. And basically, same thing. I have a weekly going on. I was doing a lot of the unpacking and cleaning. If you know, then you know. But most of you who are new, oh, and hi, by the way, but most of you who are new, I went home a year ago. I went home literally a year ago. And I stayed home while my husband deployed for 6 months. And then he came back in, I want to say April, might have been April or May. Either one, he came back and then he had to retrain for another 6 months. So then we were gone for another 6 months. And while all of this traveling was going on, our home goods, my home was in another state in a storage unit. And so a lot of my home goods, a lot of my planners and journals, the things that, I cared about ended up getting damaged. And so I threw away a lot of stuff. And I tried to preserve what I could preserve. I was able to save a lot of it, but mass majority of it got thrown away. And so, I have learned to just, keep things simple and to just not stress myself with trying to do a daily if I don't need a daily. Not trying to write down every little teeny beanie or teeny weeny little detail. Sometimes it's good to have all of that written down, especially for reference and memory type things. But realistically, when you're really busy and when you have a whole lot going on in your life, it just makes more sense to essentially keep it simple and just work with the things that you can work with in that time. So for me this week, I've just been really working off of a weekly, and that has been working out phenomenally for me. And I did a couple of dailies. I didn't finish out dailies because honestly, I just didn't need them. And like I said, it just is become a thing where it's if you need them, you need them. If you don't, you don't. So I did up to Friday, and I didn't do the weekends. The weekend, we kind of just took this time to just relax and decompress because we have been full nonstop packing, moving, unpacking, and it's just been really stressful. So that is my current bullet journal. This is what I transferred into after the T. Fossey journal didn't really work out the best for me. I still think it's a beautiful journal in itself, but it really, I don't know, maybe it was just because how busy things were and how active I was during this time with moving and things like that. It just really didn't, it didn't work out, and that's okay. I will revisit the T. Fossey journal another time in life, but right now this little B6 sized-ish, I don't really think it's B6, but it really resembles it. I think this is a perfect little journal. I didn't think I would like this as much because it's a leather wraparound, and I kind of see these as writing journals, but it really is fun to hold it and carry it and toss it around in my bag. It's a little, it's just really good. I really like it. All right, so we spent about 20 minutes talking and reminiscing over the last several weeks. So now I'm going to show you some things that I kind of purchased not just solely for 2025, but when I was ending my bullet journal also. So you guys know about this planner already. This was very popular on my channel when I was using it and sharing it and all that stuff. It's the Agenda 52. And I'm not sure really showing these. I don't need to show these, but I was just kind of looking at them to see like what the heck was happening. But yeah, this is the Agenda 52. Now, when I got all my home goods, I definitely wanted to switch out the rings. So that's what I did. I switched out the rings, and I put 30 millimeter rings, silver rings in here. I do have 1.5 and 30 millimeter gold rings, but those are just, they don't match the hardware on this planner at all. So I didn't use them. I had got them when I got the Tanya Plans binder, which the Tanya Plans pink trifold binder that I really loved did not withstand being in the elements for a year. It was one of the items that I loved that had to eventually be tossed. So I saved the rings though. So like I said, I had this Agenda 52. Now my motto is something cost effective this year and not something that is going to really like hurt me pocket wise. I want it to be functional and I want it to be something that I can see myself using. So I thought about this again because I realized that, Agenda 52, the Paper Studio brand at Hobby Lobby, they have really nice products. And really good paper too. Their paper is really thick, but the quality is just, it's there, okay? It's there for my budget-friendly people. It's just there for us. So I was like, I'm just gonna change the rings. And I also thought about a Carpe Diem, binder too, because they have more colors and more patterns and things like that. And in the future, I might decide to do that. This binder is fairly inexpensive. So I thought about this. I thought about this for all of my budget-friendly girlies who want the chunky planner, who want to have, an option to switch out without breaking the bank. We are trying to save money this year, and I'm just not in the business for buying all of these expensive things anymore. So like I said, I swapped out, I put 30 millimeter rings in here and I set it up. There's a whole year's worth of inserts. They're all from Agenda 52. I have the budget insert, and then because I was really going to use this before my bullet journal, but then I decided not to use it and to just save it. And then it has all the months and then your horizontal weekly. This may or may not work for some people because there are decorations on here and all that stuff, but I think that it is really fun and they're very practical and you can still use them for, functional planning, even with all the little decorations, and it will save you from having to put a sticker or something like that on the page, which this year I don't think I will be using as many stickers. I'm just kind of pushing away from, having to have all these non-essential things. Stickers really do work, but I just don't have time. I wish I had time to just sit and play and do all that stuff, but I'm just kind of like, I just need to write it down and keep going. I cut a Hobonichi A6 pencil board. I don't think I'm going to go back to A6. So I cut that pencil board. And then in the very back here, I ended up putting in a Day Designer 2-year monthly, because as you see, this is an undated system. It's undated. And so I was like, well, if I needed to forward plan, if I needed to plan things ahead in time, I needed a place to do so. So I ended up buying this fairly cheap from like Target. And so it's just the months. And I thought this would be perfect for a system like this. So this was originally something that I was considering to use, but chose not to use. So if I don't use it, there's no guilt behind it because it's undated. And so I have the option to go back and, think about it and play through it if I want to. I added a notebook, added a little field notes book just, for extra notes. But then it also has a note section, which Usually loose leaf notes I don't keep. I don't save them. I don't reference them as often. So this would be used solely as like scratch paper. But yeah, I went ahead and put 30mm rings in here. It can handle 30mm rings. This is more along the lines of personal wide. So the size is just chef's kiss because I love the fact that it's a little bit bigger than regular typical personal. But yeah, I like this system. I really liked it when I was using it a few months back. So I thought, you know, let's try to revisit this again. So yeah, that's one option. Now, one of the things that I did buy for 2025, I ended up buying not this Clever Fox. I do love Clever Fox, and I have a crap ton of things from them that I've considered for 2025 too. Also undated, which is the best part because it's undated. But I did go ahead and I purchased the LT1917 daily planner. I love Leuchtturm. If you know, then you know. But I purchased this, and my sole intent was to just use this for 2025. And the reason why I like the Leuchtturm so much is because you have this yearly overview. The paper is really thin. I love their paper. It's, to me, it's such a better quality than the Moleskine. I've always had my gripes with Moleskine, but I really enjoy the Leuchtturm paper. And like I said, I was really loving my bullet journal this year, so I went ahead and I got this. So I really love that they provide you with the 2024, 2025, and 2026 yearly overviews. And then my favorite part is not only do you have 2025 here, but then you have 2026 here as well. So you can do all your future like monthly type planning, pivotal days. You can do that. The space isn't much, but you can track in here. And then my favorite feature of the Leuchtturm daily planners and the weekly is this. It's a project plan section, but there is space for each month for you to track something for each month. And I really like that because this is so versatile. I'll pull it up so you can see. Like, this is so versatile that they provide this for you. So if you have projects that you're working on, definitely can track a lot of that stuff here. Or if you have big things that you want to keep track on, like your workouts or something that you're, you know, tracking, like maybe your, not necessarily your steps, but like, medications, physical activity, just whatever. I could go on and on about all the type of things that you could track, but this space is perfect for that. So I chose this planner amongst many others for those features, because I feel like when we're choosing things now, I feel like we need to be a little bit more conscientious about what we're choosing and why we're choosing them so that they help us in our lives. For me, I am super forgetful. I also, you know, I have a tendency to not really pay attention to a lot of the things that are really important to me. Sometimes I take things and I can't remember if I've taken something. So it's just like, I need my planners to be a little bit more practical and helping me to remember, helping me to keep track of, you know, some of these very important things in my life. And then my other favorite edition of this planner is the daily. Now, in the A6 version, this is not at the bottom. So, I mean, it's not necessary. You don't need November through whatever to see. You don't need all these future months. But just to give you a context, it's nice that they include it because if you're tracking something, you could at least see how far ahead something is for planning purposes like that. But honestly, you don't need this. But I love their daily layout because it's so simple. It's just like a notebook but they give you a space for notes. And then you can split this so you can have your to-do and you can have your schedule, or you can just have your schedule going across. But my favorite and most loved feature of this entire planner is after every week of dailies, they include a notes page at the end of the week, every single week of dailies. So you can do a lot with this. You can turn this into a weekly. You can turn it into your meal plan. You can do whatever you so choose. You can tape something over it, because this is just a note page. It's not a dated page. It's just a note page. And so you can do whatever you choose with it. So I really chose this planner this year for these features because they are so versatile, but they also keep the system in itself very streamlined, very, kind of thin. It's a thick book, yes, but you would only need this one book. You wouldn't need multiple books. So I really like that feature. And then in the very back, you get a few, not many, you get a few little blank note pages. I don't think the note pages in this book are perforated like they are in the A6. Oh, nope, they are. So you get some perforated blank pages, so you can do pen test, or you can do whatever you want to do with this. But like I said, I love the Leuchtturm. I think the Leuchtturm products are just kind of slept on. A lot of people really gravitate to Moleskine, and I'm not hating on Moleskine, but I feel like, the quality of a Moleskine just isn't there. And Leuchtturm really they check off a lot of boxes for me. The paper is thin. The layouts are practical and useful. They include some things that Moleskine don't include in their planners. And so I could just really appreciate the Leuchtturm. So this was one of the things that I bought for 2025. Now, I was really thinking about what I wanted. I had been using my bullet journal for quite some time, and I didn't know if I wanted to continue with A5. And there's no saying that I won't use this Leuchtturm, but what I will say is that it is up there with everything else, and I may end up using it for something else. But I wanted to bring in something that I think would be more beneficial to me in this coming year. So if you are getting excited, then yes, this is a ring setup. So I have a Filofax domino that I purchased when they were doing those big sales. I even have the matching one in pocket size. I changed the rings on this. I put 30mm rings in this one. So this would be my chunky boy, along with the Agenda 52 if I decide to use it. So this is my chunky boy. And then I have my streamlines, which are my compact sizes. These two I've already had. I've had them. I was using the Hobonichi in this one, and then I used Sweet Freckle Designs in this one. And these are my very thin versions, because what I'm going for this year is I want a system that I can throw into my bag. I've been taking my bullet journal everywhere with me, so practicality, portability, all of that is really important to me this time around in my life. So I opted to have something, practical and useful, so I could use this as a wallet. The rings are super small, so I can keep things very compact. And it zips around, so everything is protected. So these two look the same. But then I was surfing on Amazon and I came across this one. I think the brand is called Zanaki. But I came across this, and I think I'm going to do some patches. I'm going to do some patchwork on here. But I came across this one, and I really got excited for this one, because this one has a crap ton of pockets. So it has all of these different pockets. You can put like pencils, pens, markers, an extra notebook. But then you have these rings, which they are a little bit bigger than the Filofax Soffiano compact zip. They're a little bit bigger than that, but you can put your agenda here, and then you can have some more stuff in these pockets here. So I was really excited about how portable and practical this is, and just like its setup in itself. So this is one that I will be definitely playing around with this year. But these were the things that I have as far as covers for my new agendas. And then as far as agendas, I went ahead and I purchased from Day Designer. Now, I have a couple of things from, well, I only have one thing from At a Glance, but they're the same company, so it really doesn't matter. So this year, what did I order? So I ordered 4 packs of these short trim ruled notepads, and there are two pads with 24 sheets. So I ordered quite a bit of them. This is just to give me, you know, like some place to write notes, extra notes if I need them. They aren't the same length. They're not the same length as you know, the actual pages themselves, but they work as like throwing them in between like your week or your day or whatever the case may be. So I ordered 4 of these, and then I ordered the Kathy Davis monthly tabbed calendar. Now the dailies that I purchased have monthlies, but I really didn't like the way they looked, so I ordered these. Because I also think that I'm going to do some different kind of tracking and things like that. And like when I go ahead and set them up, I'll talk a lot more about things that I will be doing in my planners this year. But I ordered this, and it's the decorated version. I really wanted to get the Franklin Covey, but Franklin Covey is just astronomically expensive, and I just can't afford that. Then I went on and I ordered Kathy Davis's 2-page week refill. I really like the way that this look. There's hours on here of the day, but you don't necessarily need that. But if you wanted, you could literally split the page or split the boxes in half and do your time-based stuff on the left and your task-based stuff on the right. It can be so versatile. So I picked this up, and then this last thing I picked up from Day Designer was just this traditional 2-page per day. If you're hearing my son, you know, he's been having bouts of tantrums lately, so it may be echoing. But like I said, I picked up this traditional 2-page per day refill. Now, this was the original set that I was looking at on the website. They have the hours, so you have the full box, the full lines for every like hour of the day. Well, basically 8 to 8, but the hours provided. And then at the bottom you have to be done today, so your actions list down at the bottom, and then you have another notes page, but it's also numbered. So I wasn't sure if I would really like this as much. This is what it really looks like. I wasn't really sure if I would like this too much. So what I did, and they split them up, so I haven't opened it, so I don't know what this looks like, and I will do a whole opening unboxing type thing in the next video, because this one I just really wanted to show you guys what I was getting. And I don't want to open these right now because I don't have anywhere to like safely store them, so I just want to show you for right now. But I don't know what's in here. I don't know, but I also didn't know if I would like these, so I went to Amazon. I ordered these ones from the website. All of the other things that I showed you, I got those from the website, and then this was the only thing I got from Amazon. So I ordered this, and I really liked, so I see that they split them up into quarters, but I really like how they have the schedule here, but then you have your box here for priorities. And then the note page, like I said, like if you can kind of see, the note page is just, you know, there's no numbers. I can literally do whatever. I can make it into task or whatever. So I have 2 sets of 2 days on one page to play around with. There's obviously more in this traditional pack than there is in this at a glance. So I will be pleasantly surprised as to which insert I gravitate to the most. The corners aren't rounded on the edges of this one, I don't think. No. So it's just all square. The corners aren't rounded on here, but the corners are rounded on here. So it'll look a little weird when I have it in my planner, but like I said, I'm going to try both out this year and just kind of bounce between the two. But this is what I ordered from Daytimer and also Amazon for my 2025 stuff. That's what I got. This is it. So if you were ever wondering if I was going to go back to rings, here it is. I'm still in my bullet journal era. And I think that a bullet journal will always be useful to me throughout the year, because when I'm really stressed, that's something that I can definitely use, and I will continue to bullet journal in my rings and all that kind of stuff. But I need something that has dates. I just need to have a little bit more structure that doesn't require me to sit down and really draw out things on a consistent basis. But I still like the flexibility of a bullet journal, because when life gets really hectic, those seem to be the things that help me put it all together. So this is what I got. This is my long update video for you all. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you will come back and watch the next video when I post it about, going through all of this stuff, opening it up and dissecting what we have and all of that stuff in these bundles. But yeah, you guys, that's all that I have for you. And I thank you guys so much for sticking around, even though I've been absent for the last few weeks. And I welcome all of my new subscribers, and I will catch you guys in the next planner related video. Bye, loves.